right, it's another episode of Splash Hit, post-Christmas edition. We're going to have fun today. It's going to be an end-of-the-year awards show. Since the Giants won all kinds of awards at the winter meeting, Susan and I thought it would be great to do an award show today. So we're going to have fun. But in the meantime, before I bring Susan in, before I introduce her, like I always do, got to take care of some business. You guys are doing great at subscribing to this, better than I can say it. This is real easy. Go to YouTube. Splash Hit territory, click on subscribe. I think we got 2,000 and some followers right now. You guys have been great. We like the comments. We go in. Susan and I both read the comments. You guys have been amazing. You get into your own discussions in the comments. It's really great. So we're glad we're here for you guys in the off season. We're doing 2 shows in the off season. Then we're doing 3 shows during the season where we're going to talk about actual baseball games. And I can't wait for this. I just BS through these. I can't wait to get to the season and break down some games. But we're going to have fun today. Susan Slusser joins us. I hope you had a great Christmas.
I did, FPM. This should be a real fun one. I've been kind of doing some deep dives back into some old stories, which is fun to kind of talk about awards and big moments and stuff like this. And you remember, hey, kind of ultimately a disappointing Giants season, but there was a lot of really fun stuff. And obviously, the people that we're lucky enough to cover every day are super fun and wildly interesting. So that's a good thing. So you and I kicked around different awards to give out. And I thought that one that was really important to give out right from the top, because it's really the person we talked about all year, is Man of the Year, which for me, hey, look, it could be somebody different for you, FP. I don't know. But Man of the Year, the constant topic of conversation, and still obviously going into this offseason, is Buster Posey. What's he going to do? How's he going to handle things? And of course, he comes out with a massive trade way before the deadline. He makes a big managerial change, a crazy managerial hire people thought initially. So, I mean, obviously still be TBD. But who for you is the Giants' Man of the Year, FP?
Well, I think I have to agree with you. And some of these we're going to disagree, but I could go a different route and try to BS my way through this thing. But it's got to be Buster in his first year of president of baseball operations, and all that he did. And like I always say, laying a foundation for an organization isn't easy. But I thought the way he just kind of like stayed back, observed, set the foundation, didn't try to change things all immediately. Went out and got Rafael Devers, all the other things he did, signing Willy Adames, and just being a leader. And I think being a great leader is not trying to change things all at once, and having patience and being humble and asking questions. So when you talk about the direction of the organization, even though we haven't had a lot to talk about in the offseason, I believe in this guy because he's a 3-time World Series champion. He's a winner. He's intelligent, he's humble, and he's learning on the fly. And he's not afraid to ask questions. He didn't act like he knew everything right out of the gate. And I think as we see this whole Buster Posey as a president of baseball operations evolve, we're seeing a guy that really cares about the Giants, number one, cares about the community, cares about the players, and is making really good decisions. And I'm really, really excited to see where this goes. I still think, and I've talked about this on KMBR, that he's going to make a great big league manager someday. I think he would be one of the best big league managers in the history of the game if he decides to do it. I know the family concerns are there. Bobby Cox comes to mind. Bobby Cox was a front office guy with the Blue Jays before he became a manager on the field. And Bobby Cox is one of my favorite managers of all times and one of the greatest managers of all times. And Buster reminds me a lot of Bobby Cox, a player's guy that's always going to stand up for his players, going to wear it in the media. I heard stories, Susan, about Bobby Cox where even if he thought his player was wrong and he's arguing a safer out call, he would go out there and stand up for his player, get thrown out for his player, even if he thought the player was wrong. And a lot of managers will leave you hanging if you're out there. And Bobby always had his players back. I've never met one guy that played for Bobby Cox that said a bad thing about him. I think Buster could be like that eventually, but right now I'm really enjoying what he's done as a front office guy. And I know people like to be critical, but it's a process. It's a learning process for him. And I think he's learning incredibly quick, and he's going to be great at what he does, and is already great at what he does.
Yeah, I agree with you. I thought when Buster retired, okay, maybe he'll come back in about 10 years or something and go straight into the dugout and be the best manager in the game. I didn't foresee this happening, but it did make this very much the year of Buster, right? And I think next year the narrative is going to be the year of Tony Vitello. But this was all about Buster, and man, he really was just, we always use the word bold, but gosh, he was bold, which shouldn't come as a surprise. He's Buster Posey. He's very confident. He makes good decisions. You're right. He knows what he doesn't know. Huge important factor for any leader, and he surrounds himself with not just good people, with great people. So yeah, man of the year, story of the year, basically was Buster Posey. Despite a disappointing season again, and nobody felt that more deeply than Buster Posey. Really an interesting season, and he made it an interesting season. So, of course, you go from that to team MVP. I have a feeling this is another one we would probably agree on. For me, it's got to be Logan Webb. You got a horse like that who throws as many innings as he does and just reliable and is sort of the barometer of how the team feels, what the team is thinking about things, leader in the clubhouse. It's unusual to have a team MVP sometimes who's a starting pitcher, but not when it's somebody like Logan Webb. What are your thoughts there?
I'm going Lee Corso on you. Not so fast, my friend.
Not so fast.
While I
Well,
love
I know
Logan,
what you think.
while I love Logan as a former position player, I gotta go with guys that grind every single day. And I can't disagree with Logan because I'm a big fan of the person even more than the player. But I go with Willie Adames, and just in the sense that he signed the big contract. He's such a people pleaser that he wanted to please everybody out of the gate. He wanted to get off to a great start. He wanted to show the fan base, his teammates, his coaches, what a great guy he was, what a great player he was. And in baseball, if you try too hard, it goes the other way. And he was over trying early in the season. And I think back to some of my more satisfying seasons, Susan. They weren't the ones where I started out great and just played well all year, which were not too many. They were the ones where I was hitting maybe 200 at the All-Star break and ended up at 250. And that under no pressure like Willie Adames. I had a few seasons in the minor leagues where I started out really slow, stayed with it, believed in myself, stayed with the work ethic. And all of a sudden at the end of the season, even though I didn't hit 280, 290, just to come back from that was super gratifying, super satisfying that I believed in myself, stayed with my work ethic. On a much bigger scale, you sign a guy like Willie Adames that comes in and he's trying so hard. He gets off to such a bad start. He's swinging at everything. He's striking out. He's not making plays at shortstop. And I'm sitting there defending him all the time because I know what kind of player this is. When they signed him, I was super excited. And I know what he means in a clubhouse. So when you take the whole package of he was the same guy every single day in the clubhouse, he came with the same energy, the same positivity, even when he was hitting below 200 and he was scuffling, and to end up with 30 home runs on the last day of the season and getting his numbers to respectability where they were, playing a great shortstop eventually, and just being the same guy and being a team leader. I'm sure we're going to talk about Willie Adames a lot in this episode, but yeah, he's definitely my MVP just because he overcame a lot this year, and was the same person every day.
Well, you talk about we could put Willie Adames in a number of categories. This next one, I would say, just from the first half to the second half, most improved. He was first from the first half to the second half, most improved. But I've got two for this one. I know that's kind of cheating, and I hate to take. I should probably let you go first. Next one,
Yeah,
you
let me
go
go
first. So I'm
first
not taking
once.
everybody.
I'm
But
going first on this one. Let me go
oh, are you
first.
going first? All
Yeah,
right,
you
go
can't
for
go
it.
first and then I just get the leftovers. I get the scraps. First of all, like in high school, if you got most improved at the football banquet, that was like the lamest award in the world.
Yeah,
Like, oh, I got most improved. That means I sucked. And then I kind of didn't suck at the end.
this is
But
not that award.
I think I threw those trophies right in the garbage can because I got them and I was embarrassed to get them a
This
few
is the
years.
big leagues FP. This is
Yeah,
not
it's
your high school
different. This is
football
different
team.
than high school football. All right, I'm going to go with Landon Root, because early in the season, I'm sure that was probably one of yours. He was a fastball curveball guy, and as a big league hitter, if you got two pitches, I got a 50-50 chance of guessing right. Also, as a hitter, if you show me your curveball early, I know where it starts and I know where it ends up. And I know if it starts here, it's going to be a ball. I know if it starts here, it's going to be a strike. I know if it starts way up here, it's going to be a hanger. And you can kind of see a curveball pop out of a guy's hand where when you throw it, the ball goes up and you see it up out of his hand quickly. I wish I had a baseball. I demonstrate. So early in the year, he was fastball, curveball, and that was it. It was 50-50. And then he evolved into a complete pitcher where now it's the changeup, now it's a sinker, now it's a four-seamer, now I believe a cutter or a slider, something like that, and the curveball and a changeup. And he just became a complete pitcher. And on top of that, I watched his demeanor grow and his mound presence grow throughout the season, where the confidence level, and he started to get bigger out there. And he was kind of surly, which I really like about him. So for me, he's going to be a big part of this year. And I watched him grow as a major leaguer, and I think he's going to add a lot of value to that staff this year. And I was really bummed when he got hurt.
Well, good. We don't bump up yet again. I think for me, one of the things I like about this category, and you touched on it, is these are guys, sort of the most improved guys, who I think are going to take more steps next year. They've set a good base for this year. And the two guys I'm about to mention, because I got one on defense and one on offense, are so important. Obviously, the first one, when I talk about most improved defensively, is Rafael Devers. Never played first before, had all that sort of drama around not playing first in Boston, comes in, starts working out there. A little bit of a nod and a wink when the Red Sox are in town right away when he's working out there. Love that. And he got so much better by the end of the season. He was starting some really slick double plays. Seems to have the footwork basics, and he's going to be working with Ron Washington. We've talked about this a million times, but wow, is that going to be big? Because I think he could be really a very top-notch first baseman. I keep talking about it because I think it's such an interesting, amazing development. And then offensively, people might be surprised by this. I wrote about it sort of midway through the second half, but Patrick Bailey figured some things out offensively. And you look at the overall numbers and you go like, oh, okay, he's still a defensive guy. Gold glove, I'll give him that. But his first 2 years, this is where I think this is really significant. He hit over 290 the first half of his first season, his rookie year. And then he hit like 130 the rest of the way. The second year, he hit over 280 the first half, and similar, hit 120 the rest in the second half. This year, he was by far so much better in the second half, hit the majority of his home runs, 4 of his 6 home runs in September. He hit 288 in September, and that's when a big league catcher is usually really slowing down, and he was doing the bulk of the catching by far. So I think that's a massive development. If he's really figured out something that's clicked, it's to the point you and I've been talking about. Should he just hit from one side? I'm throwing that conversation out the window, FP, when you do a deep dive into the numbers. I think that's, it's pretty exciting to see what's happened there. So I'm going to go first on this next one, especially since this one's really obvious, most inspirational. This is where I put Willy Adames. That dude never stops smiling. He is the most team-oriented, I got your back guy. I love it. I will probably have a few references to the little brouhaha in September, I think, on this show. But the second Chapman starts taking even a step toward Kyle Freeland, Willy Adames was right behind him. So I thought he, especially given that rough first half he had, he turns it around. And he never stopped smiling, was accountable. Really, everything we heard when he came over from Milwaukee, we saw it in action.
All right, I'm going to go post-game wrap here. Good pick, Susan. Good pick.
That's it? That's all you got?
No, I mean, that is a good pick, but I could go the easy route and say Drew Gilbert, because when he got called up, he added a spark to the ball club that they didn't have all season. So I'm going to give him honorable mention, but I'm going to go Matt Chapman for most inspirational, because I love the way he plays baseball. I love the way he approaches the game every single day. He fires me up as much as anybody on that team when he makes a diving play, just to watch him play third base, just to watch him run to first. It's simple things. Like, he runs every ball out as hard as he can all season long. He posts every day. He doesn't want days off. Bob Melvin had to twist his arm for days off. And that's inspiring to me if I'm in the clubhouse, that one of the guys that's making the most money on the team wants to play every single day. So I don't know. I just love the guy. I love the way he plays third. I know he had the scabs on his hands a lot at third base this year, and that became a big problem, even bigger than the one that you reported on. He was real frustrated about every time he dove for a baseball, there was like scabs on his hands, and that shouldn't happen anywhere at the big league level. So
Yeah. Couldn't get
he's
the
all
bat either.
he plays under control, but with his hair on fire. It's always not noticeable, but if you've played the game for a long time or you're his teammate, everybody talks about Matt Chapman. So he inspires me. He inspires his teammate. I'm giving him most inspiration.
I think those are both really excellent. You can't go wrong with either one, I feel like. Here's your chance to start off with biggest moment of the year. What was there one thing that really jumped out to you?
There's two, and I don't want to step on yours, so I'm just going to talk about mine. And if you don't say yours, I'm coming back to me with mine. But for selfish reasons, I was doing the game against Philadelphia when Patrick Bailey hit the inside the park walk-off home run. We've always said he does have the clutch gene. He does get a lot of big hits. But to watch that whole thing unfold and to watch my partner, Dave Fleming, right next to me, standing up in the booth with veins popping out in his neck, his face, Dave, he's pale. He was beet red. And I don't know, I thought he was going to pass out. So I'm watching the play. I'm going nuts. And as a color analyst, you can't say anything. You just have to sit there. And I'm doing this, standing up next to him. I'm watching him. And then I'm watching the play. Then I'm watching him. And I'm sitting here kind of witnessing one of the greatest calls in Giants history and one of the greatest moments of the year. And Dave absolutely freaking nailed that. It was so cool to be a small part. And then to watch the celebration, which ended up right in front of the Phillies dugout in the on-deck circle, and they're ripping off his jersey. And it was just the most unlikely thing. Dave was on top of it. He's one of the best broadcasters in baseball, period. One of the best broadcasters in any sport, period, going right now. But that was my favorite moment of the year. And I'll let you go now, but that was so freaking cool just to be I think I said 2 words in that whole thing. I'm like, what am I going to add to that he hasn't already said? So I'm just going to lay out and let the crowd take it from here.
Well, that's that. I was going to say that, and I will add that when you have a play that everyone who sees it cannot wait to watch multiple times on replay, like that's the first thing everybody did, right? We gotta go, is that really what happened? I mean, Patrick Bailey. So yeah, fun stuff. And what a great moment for Patrick Bailey. Like he could always show that. He could show that. I would have that on a loop in my house if I was Pat Bailey.
He ended it with it, and now we've seen everything, which is the greatest line ever.
So good.
I don't know how I thought of it. You got another one? Because I'm going honorable mention.
I do have another one. I just think for the overall arc of the season, the biggest moment, the most important moment for the overall arc of the season was the Devers trade, and that day was also insane. Like nobody could believe it. Like the rumbling around the press box when there were first some reports out about that trade was it was like you could hear it sort of building throughout the press box, just like what. So yeah, that was, and obviously sets up the Giants potentially for a long time if Devers is the player they believe, and I believe he is.
Oh, that's a good one. Willie Adames, the first pitch home run in Milwaukee, when he got the standing ovation. John and I were on that call too. I was pretty lucky to be a part of these things. We only do so many games. But to get the standing ovation, to tip the cap, I think he was almost in tears. And then to see the baseball go deep and the cheers turn to boos 10 steps down the first baseline. That was pretty cool too. But I mine was an in-game moment. Yours was like the big arc of the season moment. And I love where you went with that, because that was probably the biggest moment of the year, getting Rafael Devers.
Yeah. So the next one is the moment the season went south, which I have a couple different options for this one. Sadly, I think the obvious one you look at it is the 2 series right before the trade deadline, right? Against the Mets and then the Pirates at home. That was when Bob Melvin said a couple times, like, we need to be better for the fans. Like, this is not acceptable. 4 games in which they scored 1 run. They lost 2-1 games in that stretch at home. And then, of course, that stretch leads them to trade, essentially the back end of the bullpen. So huge for them. I will also point to, weirdly, the Devers trade. The Giants were tied for first place going into that series when the trade happened, and Devers hadn't joined yet. But that Friday night in LA, they were tied for first place, the Giants. 40 and 29, I believe, 42-29, something like that. And obviously the season did not go as they wanted from that. Was the last time they had a sniff of first place. They get Devers, and the one thing nobody agrees with me on, the one thing that the Devers trade brought was a little less playing time for Dom Smith, who was playing really well, and a lot less time for Wilmer Flores, who was the guy that really offensively got them into that first place position. Now, you can say what you want about Wilmer Flores and where he is in his career, but he then sat for a long time, and the sparse usage. He played in 88 games in the first half, and he played in, I want to say like 30 in the second half. I mean, it was a huge difference. So I think that like threw them off a little bit somehow. And obviously Devers, it started off a little bit slow, but that was big. FB, any kind of moments where you thought this team might be in trouble now?
Well, it was maddening at times because they'd be playing so well and they'd win like 10 out of 12. And then all of a sudden was it the homestand you're talking about where didn't they lose 15 of 16 at home or something like
Yeah,
that?
there was
Am I
that
getting that
too.
right?
Yeah. Yeah, there were a lot of really bad stretches. It was a streaky team, but it seemed like the bad stretches lasted a lot longer. I mean, we look at their record. I guess it was sort of even and when it all came out in the wash, but it felt like there was something with the bad stretches that felt a lot longer.
It wasn't just losing 15 to 16. It was how they did it too. Like you can be snake bit where you're getting walked off on the road or you're losing the last inning at home and it's 4-3, 3-2, and it's just baseball. But when you don't know the infield fly rule and there's errors everywhere and it was really bad baseball. And I think the guys in the clubhouse would admit that. So it wasn't, oh, they lost 15 of 16, which sucks however you cut it, but it's how they were playing at the time. And they went from like a really good streak where they came off a road trip. I think they did well in Milwaukee, if I'm not mistaken. And then they came home and it was just like how do you just go like that? Like, how does that happen? And how does it happen for so long? And I think there's been a lot talked about that. So I'll just go that home streak, whatever it was, where they just weren't playing well on the corner of Third and King. All
Well,
right,
what
play of
about
the year. Is that the next one? Look
play
at
of the year?
yes,
Play
I
of the
love the way
year.
these just pop up out of nowhere. This is
Yeah.
outstanding. I think I already talked about the play of the year for me, so I'm going to let you go first on this one.
Oh, well, for me, it's got. I mean, there are a few. I was going to use Pat for the other one. I can't use Pat in the inside home run for. Can't use it for everything. But the Jung Hoo Lee catch between the knees, I believe it was in August against the Rays, was crazy. It's sort of like exemplified both really good and bad things, both about the Giants outfield in general and the Jung Hoo Lee season. I mean, he does have such a world of talent, and I do not know how that was it looked like a magic trick. The ball hits the heel, he runs it down, hits the heel, had it in the glove, looks like, oh no, this is another bad play for the Giants, rolls down his arm, kind of keeps rolling, and somehow he wedges it between his knees. And he was so nonchalant after the game about it, just sort of, yeah, no, of course, this is what happened and not really a big deal. Like, what, are you kidding me? But he had a mixed season in the outfield. And of course, they had the worst outfield defense in the majors, really. So fun to see a great play. But you go, oh, a lot of times that play was not getting made. Those kind of balls off the heels of the glove. You mentioned a lot of the mental mistakes, but it was nice to see one go the right way, I guess, if you're a Giants fan and certainly for Giants players.
Yeah, I think I'll go with Bailey's walk-off or Bailey's walk-off home run against the Dodgers. And if we're doing play of the year, you didn't say good player of the year when Elliot Ramos threw the ball into center field instead of toward the infield. I
right?
should laugh.
Or Chundu for getting the number of outs.
I've never seen that one before. That was not a good throw by Elliot. I'm sure he would admit that. Okay, stop. I'll stop.
Play of the year could be bad. Yeah, I mean, honestly, for the outfield, maybe we should pick one of the bad ones. Yeah.
No, let's not. Let's keep this positive. Let's keep it rolling. Promotion of the year is the one I see next on our list of awards here. The Giants won all the awards at the winter meeting. So Susan and I are giving awards today. We're having fun with it. Promotion of the year. Susan, you go first on this one.
Well, that's kind of pretty easy. The guy that we've been waiting for all year, Bryce Eldridge. Obviously, just a cup of coffee in September after Sacramento season ended. But look, there was so much hype, so much written about him, and he doesn't get much playing time. He's doesn't really do much of anything. But it really set things up for this off season. And the Giants, yes, have not done very much this off season. But I can tell you, the buzz is constantly: are they going to trade Bryce? What could they get for Bryce? Who's asking on Bryce? And I think some of that is because there was there was so much emphasis on him in September when he came up. I mean, he is their name prospect. So fun to see him come up, even though he didn't do much. And if he's still with the team, all the spring training will be: is he going to be on the opening day roster?
Yeah, I mean that's got to be it. There was one promotion that I can't even remember where we claimed some guy off waivers. He played one game in center field, and then we released him the next day. I don't even remember who that was. I'm not trying
to the Farhan Zaidi era. Yeah, it wasn't Daniel Johnson. He actually played a couple games.
Yeah, I can't remember who that was,
but
yeah, it's got to be Bryce for promotion of the year. Nothing to add to that. I can't wait to see that guy develop. I got a text from a buddy last night that said, "Do you trade Bryce Harper for Bryce Eldridge?" I guess that's what all Giants fans are talking about.
Because you keep talking about it. This came from you. I think you started your own rumor.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'll wear that one. I didn't hear that anywhere else. I just made that up myself. You're right. You're right. I will wear that one on this podcast. For this podcast's sake, I can't give up my sources. All right.
My source is me.
my sources are me and my multiple personalities. All right, Mr. Congeniality is next on the list. I got to get out of this one. Mr. Congeniality is the next one on the list. Okay, you go first, Susan. Mr. Congeniality.
Oh my gosh, this is such a toughie. This is such a toughie. I got a lot of possibilities for this one. It's a great clubhouse. Really, everyone's so good to deal with. Wilmer Flores springs to mind. Glue guy, wonderful, easygoing. He's probably going to be my top pick there. But you know who underrated was phenomenal and dealing with a lot, including tons of fan criticism. I'm going to go with the coach, and that's Pat Burrell, who was as delightful, chit-chatty, funny, interesting, willing to talk, totally accountable all season, even as he was really getting ripped by, especially by fans.
Oh, that's a great pick. Yeah, I didn't even think of Pat, but Pat was the same guy every day, a lot like Willie Adames. He's getting crushed in the newspaper, getting crushed by fans, getting crushed on KNBR. In my experiences, Susan, I never blamed a hitting coach for anything ever. Like when you get to that level, you got to know how to fix your own swing. You got position players that are your buddies that are probably your best coaches that can lock you in. And I think a lot of us as fans, we go back to crappy high school coaches we had or crappy little league coaches we had, and we like to blame people. It's his fault. It's his fault. It's his fault. I was in the cage with Pat a lot this year. He was so nice. Like broadcasters usually don't go into the cage, but he would bring me in and say, "Watch this. What do you think?" Ask me questions. But he'd always be working with these guys. I don't think a lot of fans know. Like hitting coaches get there like at 11. And then they leave like an hour after the game. Pat was a believer in it. And I will say this, full disclosure, right after the game, he was on the bus. He's like, I don't want to deal with anything right after the game because there's too much emotion involved. Some players like to stay after a game and hit, which I always thought was weird. Like you just get there early tomorrow, leave it at the ballpark. But Pat would get there early and work with these guys. Man, he's just a great person. He's going to be in the organization. And that's a great job by Buster keeping him around because I've always said I think Pat would be a good manager. Just because the way he relates with people, he knows the game. Maybe the mechanics of hitting. I mean, he's good at it, but sometimes, Dusty was a hitting coach and he was a good hitting coach, but he was a Hall of Fame manager. That's how Dusty started. And I think Pat could do the same thing if he wanted to.
I agree. And I'd love to see him get a shot somewhere in the organization as a manager. I think he could move up pretty quickly. And I think he'd be in demand from other teams because he has that sort of overview of things. But I'm with you on the hitting coach. I'm not sure in this day and age with video and the metrics that necessarily, sometimes the hitting coach is mostly, I want to be here to help you to winnow this stuff down to figure out what's most important to you. And then I will provide it to you. And whatever else they usually ask the players to tell them what they need, which is probably what they should. But all these guys, they have their own hitting guys or their dad, their college coach. Like they have so many people. There's a lot of noise. So when one guy is really struggling, it's really hard to determine, are they listening to somebody else? Are they listening to too many people? Are they looking at too many numbers? There's just a lot. Sometimes it's paralysis by analysis, it seems like, when it comes to hitting. So yeah, um, that is not how I envisioned that, that topic going. But I will say I'm going
Welcome
to go
to
with the
my
same
ADD
guy.
world. Welcome to
Yeah,
my
here we go in the
ADD
next
world.
topic. But
All right.
who won't be back next year? Who will be the most missed? The
Who
two
won't
obvious.
who won't be missed the most? You should have put that.
Who will be missed? Be missed most? I think all will. Like all that, their own free agents are all really good dudes. I liked Verlander a lot. Actually got a real kick out of covering Verlander for a year, a Hall of Famer, and I think he was a really good team guy and good with the pitch. That's not who I'm picking. Obviously, you guys know I love Wilmer Flores, so I'm picking Wilmer Flores. The reason I'm doing that is because I hope very much that Dom Smith is back. I know the Giants have checked in on him. I think that's one of those, hey, we have a lot of other things that we're working on. We're going to get back to you later. And I think the Dom Smith sort of category of player in general, they're pretty used to. We're going to let the teams with the bigger budgets and potential contenders make their big moves. And then you guys call us when you're ready. So I wouldn't be stunned if he comes back. But if he's not back, I would like to revise my answer.
I'm going with the Submariner, Tyler Rogers. He signed with the Blue Jays, got a nice little deal there. How about Yaz's deal? Good for
Nice.
Yaz in
Yeah,
Atlanta.
really happy for
He's
us.
going to hit bombs in right field there. He's going to have a good year in Atlanta. That ballpark's made for him. But yeah, I'm going to go with Tyler Rogers because there's a lot of talking amongst the fan base about, oh, we can just sign him back next. That's not how it works, man. You don't go backwards in baseball. That's the sentimental. We get attached to guys. We like guys. Yeah, they'll just come back. I knew he wasn't coming back. But yeah,
Really?
he's a guy that there was a chance that he would come back, small, maybe none, but it's not going to come back. And I'm glad he got paid to go play in Canada. And I'm really glad Yaz got paid too. That's
Yeah, yeah, me
damn.
too.
He
Yeah,
did he
I'm
did
glad
he
that
did he did
he
well.
does specific things really well, and I do think that sometimes fans don't necessarily appreciate. Like you look back, and Yaz led the team in WAR a lot of years, and fans are like, I don't get why the Giants are keeping him around. The defensive excellence in that outfield was just off the charts, and he did one of the best base runners I've seen. Not particularly fast, but just a great. But that's when he started making mistakes at one point early in the season. I was like, oh, this is a weird year.
We
So
got to
this is
blow
one
through
of
these. We're getting toward the end here. We're
I
talking
know,
too.
I
Well,
know.
I'm
We're
talking
we're
too much.
like imagine that we're talking too much. Here's this one's from you. Best attempt to grow facial hair. If you guys can't figure out which ones are my contributions and FPs,
Oh
he's
my,
got a
yeah,
lot like these. Best attempt
yeah.
to grow facial hair. You go.
Well, I like Chappie's stash when Chappie has a stash at third base. Matt Chapman. I know you're not a mustache. You get mad when I grow a mustache. Um, Matt Chapman or Logan Webb's attempt at a mustache was pretty good too. So I'm going to go with those two.
I'm not sure it was great. It also looked a little strange. I thought that this was potentially a sarcastic question and a chance for us to kind of mock guys who are not. All those years I covered Sonny Gray in Oakland, he tried every year to grow a mustache and failed, and it was hilarious. I'm gonna put Hayden Birdsong in that category also because he really,
Yeah,
the
good call.
guys with the blonde hair and especially the younger they are, it seems like a tough time. So that did kind of make me laugh a little bit.
All right,
Um,
I put this one in. Let's go. Most likely to win a Tony Award at the Giants. Is it Curran Theater? I don't even know.
Curran
Did I
Theater,
say
the
it?
current, yes, yes,
The Curran Theater?
Curran Theater.
All right. I listened to that band in the 80s, man. Curran. They're awesome. All right. You go. You go first.
Well, I've got two again because I just can't ever pick one. Patrick Bailey with his pitch framing, I'm going to say would probably be a very excellent sort of like subtle actor. But if you want to go for drama, having seen Matt Chapman in the midst of a fight or two over my career, I like Matt Chapman for the drama for sure.
Yeah, I will go Logan Webb. Probably win a Tony someday at the theater when he's done. So everybody making fun of that, you know, He could probably win one. And Matt Chapman looks like an actor. I forget. I saw something the other night. I'm like, that's Matt Chapman. I don't know the guy's name because I suck at names, which is not good for a broadcaster. But yeah, there is an actor, and everybody watching this right now, whose it is, Matt Chapman. They're like twins.
I don't know who you're talking about, but I do know that when you talk Logan Webb, the obvious is Jesse Plemons, who potentially could win an Oscar this year, is absolutely tremendous in Begonia, which I wasn't a huge fan of overall, but I mean his performance is staggering. I mean he's just great. So we have another FP category. Of course, this is an FP category. Most likely to bite an opponent, or I think you even included teammate. I don't want to see anybody bite anybody at all. As you know, a big soccer fan, and when Luis Suarez was on Liverpool, I just kept going like, "Please stop biting people. It's not okay." So that's my little PSA. No biting.
Drew Gilbert bit Robbie Ray. So Drew Gilbert, he bit
okay.
Robbie Ray in the dugout. Was so Drew Gilbert.
Okay, well that's easy. You just want to save Drew Gilbert for a lot.
I haven't really talked about him enough on here. I love that guy. All right, what's the next one? Best visiting fan base. Ooh, this is whoopsie.
Yeah, we're gonna make
this is mine too.
Mad.
This is my chance to take a shot at Giants fans for letting Dodger fans buy all the tickets. But it's been explained to me, some friends who are season ticket holders, and I don't know if this is an excuse, and you guys can go nuts in the comments about this. I'm sure you will. But some people are able to pay for their season tickets by selling these tickets to Dodger fans because they're paying a premium price. But that's no excuse. I'm sick of seeing all the Dodger blue at Oracle Park for these Dodger Giants games. Uck. Terrible. Okay. Boo.
I agree. Partly because the atmosphere in the ballpark does wind up being pretty fun. And I will say the same in reverse. Going to Dodger Stadium, when the Giants are there, the Giants fans come out in pretty full force there. And it is fun. And I've gone and sat in the stands in both places during the rivalry, just to kind of check it out. And it's like you get people it's pretty funny. Both sets of fan groups are pretty funny. But I've also got a little soft spot in my heart for Dodger fans, because I don't know if people remember at all, but on social media a couple of years ago, I had mentioned I had a really bad experience leaving the ballpark one day with a person who sort of accosted me, probably maybe not quite, maybe on a substance or something or other. It was kind of scary. And a big group of Dodger fans kind of put me right in the middle of them and walked me all the way to my car, which back then we were parked quite away from the ballpark.
That's at Dodger Stadium?
And this was at Oracle. And people were this guy followed us the whole way, which was several blocks. So it was a little frightening, but that little group of Dodger fans really took care of me that day. So little soft spot for them. They're not all bad. They're all right.
Best visiting fan base is the Niners fans. Period. End of story.
Okay. All right. Best road city. You and I spend a lot of time on the road. We like to go out and see some of the town while we're there. It's easy to say New York and Chicago. Those are the obvious, and they are freaking great towns. But for you, FP, what are you going to say?
Turlock. No, I'm going to go with Chicago's my favorite. I love New York too. We had a day off in New York this year before the Yankees series. So we got at 2 a.m, had a full day in the Big Apple. I spent a lot of time there when I was on the East Coast. I love New York, but nothing beats Chicago in the summertime. And if you did a poll with players, I think Chicago wins every year. Wrigley Field, my favorite place. Spread my ashes on Wrigley Field when I pass away. That's my favorite place on the planet. And Chicago, just the run along Lakeshore and seeing the volleyball courts, and then the restaurants and the bars at night, the ballpark, the 2:00 start on a Friday at Wrigley Field when you're done by 5 and the streets are closed down. Nothing beats it.
Most underrated, I'm going to say, and we didn't add this as a category, but I'm just to throw out something different. Pittsburgh. Love Pittsburgh. It's a beautiful city, underrated, beautiful. The ballpark can't be topped. Just a sensational ballpark. Really fun fans, and there's a nice little restaurant scene downtown. That's I'm not sure people realize. Pittsburgh, it might not be what you think from TV and movies and stuff. It's really changed. Really fun. So I always love doing that. This is another FP question. Maybe because look at you. Who do you think is most likely to become a broadcaster since you're a broadcaster?
Pittsburgh is the most improved city. I slip on the cigarette butts there every time I jog, though, and I think I might have foot cancer. Let's go. Most likely to become a broadcaster, Tristan Beck. He came on
Yeah.
my show in KBR once. Oh my God. Like
Yeah.
if he wants to be a broadcaster when he's done, he went to Stanford. The thing I love about Tristan, like he loves baseball. Yeah, whatever. He loves baseball. And he's passionate about it. And I've gotten to know him over the years, but he doesn't need baseball. Like I needed baseball. I mean, there is nothing else. I'm not the most well-rounded person, but he's got that Stanford degree in his back pocket. When he came on KBR, he really loved it. He did like a whole hour with me in studio at KBR. And I've told him many times, if he wants to be a major league broadcaster, MLB Network, Giants, whatever, when he's done, he's the guy. Like he's got the skills. He could do it right now if he wanted to.
I absolutely agree. Here's one thing about Tristan Beck. I don't know if I've mentioned it before, but the year he was out after he had to have the surgery because of the aneurysm in his arm, he was the most valuable member of the Giants community office, basically the community fund. He volunteered for everything. He was at the ballpark every day. He lives in San Francisco. I mean, this is a guy who's really invested, not just in the team, but in the community. And he talked to groups of kids. He talked to season ticket holders. He caught almost every first pitch, which, guys are getting ready for the game. Like, that's not always the duty people want. He's recovering some injury. He's like, I'll do it. He will do anything. And I did a story that year on my favorite Giants promotion that they do all year with a sort of the community fund, when the kids who have pediatric, I can say it, pediatric cancer, do the sketches of the players, and they use them on the board for when they walk up.
Those are the best.
They're the best. That's my favorite day. And those kids are such good artists, and they're so sweet. So I went and talked to a couple of the kids when they were drawing, and met a few of them at their homes. And every single kid, when I said, "Who's your favorite Giants player?" said Tristan Beck, because Tristan Beck had come and spent the day drawing with them. And I thought, oh, how, of course. So, I mean, way too long an answer for that. So our final one, we're going to wrap up. What projections for next year? Team MVP, FP, and let's see, top rookie and win total. What do you think?
Oh my gosh, you're just springing this on me. MVP
Yeah.
is going to be Rafi Devers.
Think on your feet.
Rafi Devers is going to be MVP. He's going to hit 40 because he's acclimated to his new digs and he knows his new team. What was the second one? I can't think.
Rookie, top rookie next year.
Drew,
Got a couple
Drew
different
Gilbert's
possibilities.
Drew Gilbert's going to go off. He is. He's going to like blossom into under Tony Vitello as his college coach. That could be a weird dynamic though, almost like playing for your dad. Sometimes that does work. Sometimes that doesn't work. We'll see how that whole thing works out. And then I don't project wins, Susan. I said 94 last year. I was way off. So nobody wants to hear my projection for wins.
Okay, well, I'll just go through mine really fast. No, the first one's the same. Devers, that's such an easy one. Acclimated Rafael Devers, happy Rafael Devers, a full spring training with the team, fantastic. I think that's a no-brainer. Rookie of the year, I think it's going to be Jesus Rodriguez if he comes up. I think the kid will hit. He's learning to catch, but I think he is getting better. I just keep, and I know I've mentioned this before, when Buster Posey says he particularly has an eye on a young catcher, that makes me listen. So I really like the sound of him. And I hate doing win projections too. I'm always off by about 3, like probably in the optimistic side for, what Giants fans or Giants players would want. In my head, I'm saying 86, which maybe probably means 83, but that would have gotten them into the postseason this year. So, but I feel like maybe an 85, 86 win season, somewhere in there.
Yeah,
So,
I'll make a prediction when the team is set and locked and loaded and the roster's set in Scottsdale. How about that? It's hard to guess if you're going to sign players or not before then.
Yeah, we keep hoping that at some point we're going to have a show where there's some news to talk about, but it feels like it's been a while for news. So fingers crossed.
We don't need news. Just go best attempt to grow facial hair stuff. It's way better. All right, Susan, happy New Year to you and everybody out there. Have a safe New Year's because it's rookie night. So be careful out there. It's definitely amateur night. But have a safe and happy New Year. Thanks for listening, you guys. we'll see you next week. We do 2 of these a week. We'll see you guys next week. That was a fun show. I had a blast doing that. And we went 44 minutes. That's our longest show yet. Just yapping away about stupid things. All right, Susan, take care. Thanks for joining us today. I really appreciate it. To everybody out there, we appreciate you guys watching and listening. Happy New Year's. And like I say on the way out every single time, swing hard in case you hit it.